It's time for the Maximum PC No BS podcast, episode 230 for the week of August 20th, 2014. On today's special show, we have guests from Kingston. They were originally, going to come in and show us some new cool products, and we figured, hey, why not bring them into the podcast room and, show you guys what's up. So all that and more is coming up right now. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Jimmy Thing, and joining me are Associate Editor Tom McNamara.
How's it going?
And as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have some guests from Kingston that include Senior Technology Manager Mark Tekunoff.
Tekunoff, yeah.
Hi,
Tekunoff. How are you doing?
Good. And we have Public Relations Manager David Leong.
Thank you, sir.
Cool. And Reverb Communications Public Relations Director Douglas Perry.
Hello, that's me.
And can you guys sort of tell us what we're looking at here today?
Yeah, we actually brought in a couple of headsets here. So I think a lot of people know Kingston and HyperX from memory and USBs and all the SSDs, all that good stuff. And what we're doing now is we're actually getting into the headset business. So we have a couple that to show you.
Now, are these just cosmetically different, or do they have different features on them?
Between the white and the black here.
Yeah, it's just cosmetics. So we actually came out with the black one back in April, but the white one we just announced it last week at Gamescom.
Okay. Now, I noticed they have two different ear pads here. Looks like one's velour and the other one's leather.
Yeah, exactly. Out of the box, it's actually, what would you say, Marco? Pleather? Is that what you
I guess you would call it pleather. Yeah.
Back to my 80s. Old school rap days.
Can I swap those?
Leatherette would be another way of saying it.
Very nice. Naugahyde, maybe.
We had a Naugahyde chair.
Really?
Yeah. At my parents' houses. Yeah.
That's great. More of a 70s thing, I guess.
Probably.
Can you swap the ear cups back and forth between those two guys? Like if I don't like the pleather, can I go with velour?
Yeah, you actually can. Yeah, it's actually very easy. They just come right off the edge there.
That's good.
Yeah.
And
so we have some cameras right there.
Yeah.
These guys
so you can
kind of see how that kind of pulls off right there.
That's good.
So, yeah, and what we're doing is, out of the box, it comes with the pleather, leatherette, non-Naugahyde, earphones. They're actually memory foam cushion.
Oh, cool.
And what it does, it does a real good job of really isolating noise. And keeping the ambient noise away from you. And then the reason why we keep we include the velour ones is just there. We know that there's that segment of the gaming population that they don't want to isolate everything around them. You're playing a shooter, somebody comes taps you on the shoulder, and you're like, whoa, that's scary. It's like you don't want to scare somebody, and so that's why we do both.
I prefer the velour because if you sweat a lot, if you're one of those intense gamers, then the velour does a better job in my experience than the leather or pleather stuff.
Can I feel the velour? I'm not really sure what it is.
I just want to touch it.
Let's give you the headset there.
Normally called velour.
Velour.
Sorry.
Okay.
Tom, here's the memory.
It all depends on what you're trying to listen to and whether you want really strong quality frequency range or whether you want something where you can hear the people on the outside too. So
cool.
The fabric is really nice if you want to hear the environment, the ambient noise around you.
So one's like closed ear, one's open. Is that right?
Well, they're both closed. If you look at the actual designs of it, they're both closed ear. When you look at the ear cups on the outside, they're both closed ear on that case. But velour or fabric allows more sound into the headset.
Gotcha.
So what's this attachment over here?
Yeah, we have some accessories here too. So all the headsets, they come with a control box. So you've got a mute switch on one side, volume rocker.
Okay.
On that. Also comes with a extension cord in case you need to reach a little further out. There's also a Y cable for the Tune 1 because it's a standard 3.5 millimeter jack. So it's with the Y cable you can plug this into your tablet, your smartphone, or maybe your notebook PC, for instance, or a desktop that has a standard 3.5 audio jack out. So that way you can listen and also talk at the same time with the microphone. I should also tell you too, we have the microphones plugged in. The microphones are totally detachable, so it could be a true music listening headphone if you'd like.
Exactly.
Your hair's supposed to.
Pops right out.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
And I don't know if I haven't been on a flight lately that requires two-prong, but we do include the airplane adapter.
Old school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So do they actually come with both sets of the ear cups?
Yes.
They do.
Okay.
They do, yeah.
Everything
And
that we're showing you right here, it comes in this box.
Oh, that's
All
nice.
of it, and it's no extra price or anything like. Just comes built in with it.
So there's no USB stuff that goes all over the stereo cable.
We're working on that one.
I gotta ask these questions.
No, it's okay.
Some people are totally against the stereo cable thing. They'll only go USB and vice versa. So
I think that's on the roadmap. I think we
Yeah,
can talk a little bit about
I think
that.
I would look at it this way: we entered the market to see whether or not people would like HyperX headsets and see if they enjoyed the 3.5 millimeter versions. We found out that people do like them, so we're adding additional products to our product line next quarter.
cool. And how much are these guys?
So the MSRP on these is $89.99, but at the usual e-tail outlets, I don't know if I can mention them or not. They're usually on special.
That's fine. We talk about them. Newegg, Amazon.
Amazon, yeah,
cetera.
exactly. Yesterday, actually, I saw the headsets on Amazon for $79.99.
Not bad.
And so, yeah, we're trying to reach a mass market. We're trying to come out with a quality headphone, great sound. Hear all the explosions, the gunfire, and all that. You listen to music; it's great for music too. And then all the attachments. So we're just trying to come out with something that has a lot of stuff, a lot of good accessories to it, with great sound, great comfort. Really, comfort is where we think is key with these headsets. At a good price.
And then you can show them that back too.
Do these do any sort of like virtual surround, or do you need USB for that?
At this point, this product doesn't have virtual sound yet,
Okay.
but there is a new product that we're working on that will be announced later on this year that would have surround sound.
Cool.
Yeah, let's not forget this carry pouch too that Doug's pointing at. So.
Oh, does that come in the retail box as well, or is that?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
everything comes in there.
That's cool.
So-
So why did you guys decide to get into the the headphone business?
Yeah,
It's a pretty crowded market right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great question. So for us, for HyperX as a brand, we've been targeting the gaming audience for a while now. We're sponsoring esports teams. We go to a lot of gaming tournaments around the world. So next week we'll be at PAX Prime. Last week we were at Gamescom. We've been at Brazil Game Show, China Joy, all the big shows around the world, and sponsoring over 20 esports teams around the world, like the Cloud9 team, Evil Geniuses, SK Gaming, those guys. It's for the typical gamer. They may not be a system builder. They may not know the hardware that goes into their computing, their PC. And if we go to them with talk about memory, talk about SSDs, we may not be speaking their lingo, right? If I'm a gamer, I just want to play games. I just want to throw on a headset. I just want to grab the control pad, the keyboard, whatever it is, and I just want to play games. So what we're doing here is, with a headset, now we can introduce the HyperX brand, to the gaming population, and then as that develops, hopefully we can expose, them to more products from HyperX.
So are you looking to get into like keyboards and mice, mouse pads, other thing, or is this just?
Yeah. You know what? We actually have a mouse pad coming up in the middle of September, and we're gonna leave one with you guys today too.
Okay.
But right now, really, we're focusing on headsets. Really, headsets is key for us. That's the route we're taking to market.
Okay.
Cool. I noticed you guys have a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, it's a really interesting showcase.
Yeah, well, like I was just talking about, before, the company, HyperX is a part of Kingston Technology. Kingston's been around for 27 years, and, we're basically an end-to-end memory maker. The HyperX side has been around since 2002, and what HyperX was known for up to this point, and continues to be known for, is high-frequency memory. So anything that's fast from our company will get that HyperX name, be it the fastest DRAM module, the fastest USB, the fastest SSD. So our display case that you're seeing here is we have a kind of our collection of HyperX products. We have a good, better, best strategy. So we're trying to appeal to all levels of enthusiasts and gamers, and also match it up with price and performance. So that way there's a little something for everybody. And that kind of goes across the spectrum of USB, SSD, and memory modules.
So what do you consider your best RAM?
Best RAM, I think, is our HyperX Predator, which is on the very bottom. I don't know if the cameras are picking that up, but
I'll lift it up here.
that's our top of the line flagship memory. We sell it up to 2,800 megahertz, I believe. Does that sound right, Mark? I think.
Right, and then we've also done some overclocking on the liquid nitrogen side of the things. In Taiwan, they did at Computex 4 gigahertz or 4.2 gigahertz liquid nitrogen overclocking. So currently it's the fastest in the world.
How much extra performance does that get you when you overclock from, say, 26 to 4 gigahertz?
Well, I think there's two different areas. One is usable performance, and the other is I'm faster than you are.
Right.
And then that's kind of that marketplace.
I mean, I get this question all the time because you can buy stuff off the shelf that runs like up to, I think, 3 gigahertz, but if you're playing games, the benchmarks that I've seen and the benchmarks that I've conducted, it seems like if you have 1600 or 1866, that seems to be good enough. Like you'll get 95% of what you'd get with the higher speed stuff.
If you're gaming and you're not doing a lot of aggressive other things, like for example 3D rendering, or you're not using the high performance of a 3 gigahertz, typically the person doesn't need 3 gigahertz. 2133, 1866, 8 gig or 16 gig kits is typically what most gamers use. But if you want to be the fastest in the world, then you push the fastest numbers you can push. And how many of us have a tank of liquid nitrogen sitting in our garage just waiting for us to...
If you have one, you might as well.
You have a a lot of friends. If you had one...
You just pour it on.
Exactly.
Yeah, constantly, I guess.
All right.
So it looks like we have I noticed you guys have like a 4 terabyte. You know, Tom and I were talking about it earlier, but a 1 terabyte USB stick. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that actually came out a year ago, January of
Yeah, I first saw it at
2013.
CES.
Yeah, it really it's a 1 terabyte USB, so we were able to kind of hit that mark. You know, beforehand our biggest capacity was about 256 gigabytes. So
You guys kind of leapfrogged that.
Well, we kind of did, you know. Yeah, and we attached the Predator name. Predator would be the fastest from HyperX. So it's our data traveler HyperX Predator, and the speeds on that, I think off the top of my head, it's somewhere like 200 to 250 megabytes per second read, and then somewhere about 190 or so on the writes. And it's a lot of storage, and believe it or not, people actually buy that.
How much is it going for?
You know, I think the last time I checked on it, it was somewhere between $700 to $800, maybe $700 to $900. You know, depending on the price of NAND at the moment, because it's a commodity market. You know, without going uber geeky, but you know, NAND chips is very commodity.
But you can fit a lot of stuff on there. How many movies you want to put on there? You can put them all.
Yeah. What is your biggest SSD?
Biggest SSD, we actually came out with a near 1 terabyte SSD, and that was announced I think about a month ago.
The V310?
Yeah, the V310. Yeah, it's 960 gigs, and it's using a Phison controller, and up to almost a terabyte of NAND on board.
Nice.
Yeah, aimed right at consumers, because we know that it's the everybody's kind of moving towards more data. You know, we all have more music, we all have more movies around, more pictures, all that kind of stuff. So I knew, you know, we even internally we noticed that the consumption is kind of going up.
Do you plan to bump up the capacity on the HyperX SSDs? Because from what I understand, the V310 is not built for performance; it's more built for capacity.
Yeah, we will be. I think moving towards the end of this year and into next year. You know, the requirements are. You know, we need a next generation controller. That can handle up to 2 terabytes, you know, and
so you're talking about like SATA Express, or
we're working. Yeah, we're actually working on not so much SATA Express, but we're actually working on PCIe.
Okay.
And so I think those are the next things that you're going to see from us. You know, we're working on let's see here, an M.2 PCIe, and we're also working on a half height, half length PCIe.
Now, would that be the kind of card where the user can slap the M.2 drive onto it, or is the M.2 integrated into the card?
The M.2 is an actual format, right? It's actually a collection of 5 different, if I remember correctly, I believe it's 5 different formats. You know, usually the base width is about 22 millimeters, and then the length, depending on the use case, you know, that's how it varies from there. We're actually a couple of our on our OEM side, a couple of these smaller models, 22 by 42 millimeters are in a certain brand of an Ultrabook, and actually we're also in another company that makes a model of Chromebook that's using a 16 and 32 gig, M.2.
There's a number of motherboards, the Z97 based motherboards that now have M.2 sockets on them. So
Cool.
it's there and available if somebody wants to use it now.
So is anybody doing mSATA anymore, or is that just like old?
I think M.2. I think what we're going to see, and Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think we're going to see a transition. Right now it's mSATA. I would say still is mass market. M.2 very new. It's still very new.
M.2 will probably be the growth market next year, based on the fact that there's a lot of new motherboards and new systems on the market that support it.
Yeah, I've already seen some boards that are using like M.2 multipliers over the PCI Express bus. Like there's X4 and X2 M.2, and I'm like, what's that? And it apparently uses 2 PCI Express lanes. The other one uses 4 PCI Express lanes. I guess by default M.2, like the first generation, will uses 1 lane. Is that?
I know what we're working on by 4.
Right.
So I know that's what we're working on by 4, and by 4 will get us that performance. It's just more throughput through the pipe.
How much faster is M.2 overall compared to mSATA?
That's a great question. I think right now it's more dependent on controller, and it's really like everything. It's controller and NAND.
Because
it's testing it together. So I can't. I wish I could throw a figure out there for you, Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that it will be fast. But for us, it's we're still working on it.
And what kind of performance are you expecting to see out of SATA Express?
So we're not doing SATA Express.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but PCIe, we've actually done some demos with PCIe up to 1,800 megabytes per second, so about 3x over the max throughput of SATA 3.
Cool.
Or SATA 6, sorry.
I think the one unfortunate part about the PCIe part is if you're doing SLI, you might have that extra.
Yeah, it might eat into your GPU bandwidth.
Yeah, so it's like, what do you go with? Do you go with the second video card, or do you go with that PCIe,
Yeah, we had the same problem when we were building the Dream Machine. We're like, we would like to put a PCI Express storage device in there, but we just don't have any room left, like on the board itself, because we had 4 video cards or 4 GPUs.
Right.
So it seems like there's space in the workstation version of the Intel system with X99, X79. So I guess I'll have to see how that works out. It doesn't look like LGA 1150 or whatever comes after that, and that tier is going to have the extra PCI Express lanes. So I think LGA 1150 has like PCI Express. It's X16. Like it maxes out 16 lanes.
I think so.
So.
Yeah.
So if you're doing SLI Crossfire, then
that was just one thing that I noticed. I would like to go back to like the V300 series SSD. Those I have to ask. There was controversy not too long ago about you guys essentially swapping out the NAND, going from synchronous to asynchronous.
Yeah, when we came out with the V300, we were very upfront with it. It's like this is our main the biggest selling SSD from Kingston, the most popular. It's the budget SSD because that's where the market is at. And really, what happens is we were talking a little bit before about NAND prices being a commodity. When the V300 first came out, we were able to secure a good supply of NAND and get great performance out of there. We spec'd it at 450 megabytes per second read write, and that is our baseline spec. So whatever we put in there, whatever we put in there would always get us that baseline spec, and that's actually we're still doing that from now. The switch from synchronous to async, we are one of those companies where we're moving through so many bits and bytes all the time that we're securing NAND. We're not affiliated with a semiconductor, which means that we purchase the PCB, we purchase the NAND, we purchase resistors, capacitors, we put it all together and we make the finished product, which we sell that has either the Kingston name in this case on the V300. So switching that NAND, we still met the spec. For us to be able to, we could still create that drive, the same V300 when it first launched, but would consumers be willing to pay 2-3 times the price of that drive? For us to get to 50 cents a gigabyte or even lower, this is kind of what we have to do because that's where the market is.
Gotcha. And I would like to ask you guys about DDR4 if that's cool. I know that's not quite out yet, but how much should we expect to pay for DDR4?
That's
It's
a
like
really good
currently,
question.
I went on like
we haven't seen any pricing lists.
no, I went on this morning on
I
Amazon. It was like 32 gig, a 32 gig kit. This is 4 times 8 gigabytes. Is running for $550.
That seems like a lot.
Wow.
Is that
Was that being sold by Amazon or was that like a third party?
let me check.
Because I've noticed that sometimes you'll see this stuff leak out on eBay and there'll be like.
I mean, it might not be
premium.
legit, but that's why
Yeah.
we're asking these guys here, right?
Yeah, I think we can draw a parallel from DDR2 to DDR3. I mean, I've been at Kingston for close to 8 years, and Mark has been there, longer, and he's seen transition from one generation of DDR to another. I mean, I think Mark, can we draw a parallel from DDR2 to DDR3, which we did in 2000? That transition in 07.
In general, what you see at the beginning of a new technology, you're going to see the price is always probably 20 to 40% higher is when the market actually starts to buy it. So right now we're very, very early in the life cycles for the DDR4. So you're seeing the pricing trends for DRAMs are still high. So initially when it launches, it will not be something that the general consumer would want to buy because it's going to be relatively expensive. You look at the CPU, look at the motherboards, and you look at the memory. If you're an early adopter, you'll go in and you'll buy and build systems. It's going to take some time for the market to basically balance out and the pricing come down to a point where the general consumer is going to want to buy DDR4. But the key right now is it's a technology change or transition. We saw the same thing from DDR1 to DDR2, DDR2 to DDR3, where initially pricing was high until all the factories started building enough inventory where they could actually lower the pricing and match what the market wanted. If you look at DDR2 versus DDR3, it took almost 2 years for the market to transition and go to mass market over to DDR3 totally, because both CPU vendors and everybody were supporting it at that time. So at the beginning, it's always going to be a little tight, a little expensive.
Well, I noticed that the Intel desktop motherboards, it looks like they're not going to be switching to DDR4 until I think the Skylake CPUs come out. It's like the end of next year probably.
Well, you have the two different markets. You have the desktop and the server markets,
Right.
which they're on a different cadence. At one time, the servers would be the first products out into market. So we'll see over the next few weeks what actually gets launched by everybody. Yeah, but we've definitely been working with Intel. We've been working with the motherboard partners in Taiwan. We do validations, we do certifications to make sure that the memory that we do manufacture in the HyperX brand meets their requirements. And you'll probably see XMP certifications for DDR4 just like you did see for DDR3 in the previous generations.
Okay.
So is this pretty in line with what what DDR3 was to DDR2 at this point in terms of pricing? Is that pretty much on the same course?
I haven't looked back to exactly what the numbers were, but
And you haven't even answered my question about the pricing.
I'll leave it up to Dave to answer pricing.
I don't think
I'm
we
a
got that
technical
yet.
guy. I can't answer those
So
things.
that the pricing that I quoted was actually Kingston HyperX Beast 32 gigabytes. This is actually you guys on Amazon, and
That's DDR3.
Yeah, it looks like it's being sold through a third party.
That would
which
not be us.
oh, actually, it's not. Yeah, it is. Why is it so expensive? What? It's
Well.
in DDR4. I don't know.
Which product was it again?
This is Kingston HyperX Beast 32 gigabyte kit, and it's going for
Is it that
$550.
What frequency?
Yeah.
2400.
Okay.
And does that say DDR? Which DDR is that?
I typed in DDR4, but I guess it's actually saying DDR3 here.
Oh
so
yeah, Amazon does that sometimes.
I would say
right.
that you're not going to find a lot of DDR4 memory available today.
Yeah.
It's going to start going into the market over the next few weeks, next few months.
Okay.
And part of the reason why the prices, I don't have a number for you. That's the honest answer, Jimmy.
Gotcha.
But what I can tell you too
Dave,
is
can you be honest, please?
For once.
I know PR guys don't typically, but just go ahead.
wow. Thank you for that.
Let it go, man. Let it go.
Wow. I mean, what I can tell
I'm
you
totally
is
joking.
that I hope so, man. Just wait till off the air, pal. No, hey, well, one of the things too is that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there were a lot more DRAM suppliers. If we just look at the market 10, 20 years ago, there were 50 companies doing that. The market has shrunk to really, if you think about it, just basically 3 major suppliers now.
Yes.
You know, we have Samsung, we have Hynix, and then we have Elpida, which is now a part of Micron.
Okay.
So those are the 3 major players, you know, and then these 3 companies too also make flash. And as a world goes to a more mobile environment, tablets, PCs, you know, I mean, everybody who has a smartphone basically has a computer in your hand. As the world moves to more of that mobile strategy, these same semiconductors that are coming out with DRAM chips change more of their lines to flash. So there could be like an overall less output of DRAM overall, which, you know, causes pricing to go up. And I think you see some of that effect probably for DDR4.
I think DDR2 to DDR3, there were, I think, 8 or 9 vendors, and now we're down to 3.
Wow.
So the market trends change a little bit as far as how quickly people drop their pricing.
So we're probably never going to see 8 gigabytes for $50 ever again, like at retail. That's sad.
I would never say never, right?
You never say never.
Never say
Yeah,
never.
you never say never.
But it's probably not going to happen.
I think overall there's been a general uptick in pricing
Right.
for memory, both flash and DRAM. I would say, I think it's safe to say that the general arc has gone up.
Okay.
And you would say that's mostly because of a yield issue, just because there's less players in the market.
Yeah, the market, the number of companies.
I wouldn't call it yield.
Yeah,
It's product mix.
Yeah.
It's a mix between DRAM and flash builds. It's a mix between how much DDR3 versus DDR4. The wafer starts from one to the other. It's managed by the 3 or 4 DRAM vendors, so they right now are building what they can make money with. When DDR4 launches, then they'll gradually increase the wafer starts, and the pricing will gradually drop with it.
So do you think we can expect to see higher density sticks, like 16 gigabyte DDR4? Or is that, I mean, we saw that with DDR3, we transitioned from 4 being the max to 8 being the max.
You'll see it first on the server side, because the server guys will want a lot more memory than a typical consumer desktop or even a high-end desktop.
Yeah.
So 16 gigabyte sticks on the server side, you'll see those more plentiful.
Yeah, there probably isn't a lot of call for like 32, 64 and a regular desktop.
Well, we sell a 64 gig kit right now, and 8 modules, 8 gig kits.
Wow.
And I mean, the demand isn't that strong, because it means you need 8 sockets.
Yeah.
So you need an X79 board that supports it.
Yeah.
And other than a very small number of people, not many people need 64 gigabytes yet.
I'm still disappointed that the X99 appears to be limited to 64. We were hoping to see an increase after X79. It was like 3 years that we had the LGA 2011 maxed out at 64, so I was hoping to see a bump, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen with X99.
Well, there's 2 sides of that too. There's the technology, and then is there demand.
Yeah.
Right.
What if I put in 128 gigabytes in my desktop?
Yeah, what's going to take advantage of that?
Not much.
Yeah.
I readily admit
is.
that. I readily admit that. I would just like to have the option.
Yeah, Tom just wants the power.
I just want to have the option.
I want the
that's all.
option.
Yeah.
I think we all want that, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's like we all want like the biggest SSD there is, and
I mean,
the most
imagine
amount of RAM.
imagine the size of the RAM disk that you could have.
Oh, you're doing a RAM disk now, okay?
You know, or virtualizing, or running a server from home or whatever, that sort of thing.
Speaking of SSDs, when do you think we'll see like 4 terabyte SSDs,
Or even 2 terabyte at retail.
or like eventually one day I want to have nothing but SSDs. When is that going to happen?
I already want to have nothing but SSDs. It's just the cost gets prohibitive.
Yeah,
eventually.
You know what we've seen is that I'd say a year ago, probably we were probably selling around 80 gigabytes. And I'm not saying that there is an 80 gigabyte capacity SSD, but if you average, the sales out, that's where the market was. And when I say that, I'm talking about a mass market consumer.
Right.
I'm talking about a mass market consumer. We're moving past that now. 120, or we're past that 128 gigabyte threshold, and a little beyond that now. We're not at the 200s yet, but that's kind of where we are from a mass market consumer side. So as far as like the 2 terabytes and or 4 terabytes. I don't know about 4 terabytes. I do know that a PCIe, will allow us up to, I think it's up to 2 terabytes.
That's cool.
Oh, I didn't realize it was capped off at the
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that because I'm not knowledgeable that in depth on technical. I know that I should say that. Let me put it this way: the stuff that we're working on, is going to be. I think we start. It has that capability to go up to 2 terabytes because there's also a performance threshold that you want to maintain. Also,
Right.
there's only so many lanes, and you're trying to move through so much performance. I think a good example will be on that. Jimmy brought this up, the V310, and I know Tom. You brought it up. Sorry, on the V310, the 960 gigabyte. If you look at the speed on that, so right around 450, and then if you take a look at another one of our, let's say a HyperX 3K SSD where the performance is over 500 megabytes per second, somewhere around 550, 510s, there. It's about the number of lanes, what the controller can push, how much NAND it can see at any given time. It's that controller NAND mix, and so those are the things that that we face.
Gotcha. Going back to DDR4, how are the speeds bidding out? Are you guys getting like really high, fast 3200 megahertz parts?
Man, you are really asking some tough questions here.
I like him. He's right to the point. I like that.
V300, DDR4.
This is the No BS podcast, man.
This is the
we get technical.
Yeah. Our readers are like, why didn't you ask this?
They will. They'll be like,
Idiot.
guys,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, it's it's another great question. We are working on high speeds. We can't say what we're working on right now, but we are working on higher frequencies.
All right.
For DDR4.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know you guys have to get going pretty soon. So that's all the questions for myself. Tom, did you want to ask anything else?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. So cool. Thanks for dropping by, guys. And is there anything else you guys want to show off, or?
I think we really appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and I know we came here to talk about our cloud headset, and we appreciate you giving us the time to talk about that. It's our gaming headset, and something we're really proud of, and it's at a great price point. It's $79.99 at Amazon, and get great sound, great comfort, long hours of gameplay without the pain. It's pretty cool.
I eventually want to see a wireless headset one. I gotta say, I'm big onto that now because I like listening to music while I poop. So can you do this for me one day?
Wow, thanks for that visual.
Wow, that's a great note to end on.
He's a giver. He likes to share.
That's on my wish list. So.
I wouldn't add with maybe one
I'm not
other
going to try
thing.
that headphone on.
Open the door for a second. All I want to add is that it's kind of tough to do demos over a podcast, and have the listeners
audio
hear what it
demos,
sounds-
right?
Audio demos.
Yeah.
Since I'm more on the cloud side of things. Be great if you ever get a chance to put a headset on and try the music that you like to listen to. You'll hear the clarity and the crispness and all of the normal adjectives that say it's a great headset.
Cool.
And before we're done, before we leave, maybe you guys throw a headset on. We'll let you guys listen to it too. Tell us what you think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for letting us hang with you guys.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Let's go. I'll wrap it up. So you can check us out online at MaximumPC.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can email us at MaximumPCPodcast@gmail.com. Send us a message at our 24-hour No BS podcast hotline at 1-877-404-1337, extension 1337. You can subscribe to us on Google Play, iTunes, Kindle, Nook, and Zinio. On behalf of myself and Tom McNamara, thank you for listening.